What's going on, YouTube? James from the Research Revolution. Max Spiers investigated U.S. military pedophile ring before suspicious death. Conspiracy theorist Max Spiers had been investigating a major occult-based pedophile ring within the U.S. military, he revealed in an interview filmed just 4 days before his suspicious death. Max Spiers, 39, who was originally from Canterbury in Kent, traveled to Poland in July to give a talk on conspiracy theories, but was found dead on a sofa in the flat he was staying in. Friends claimed he died in his Warsaw apartment after vomiting black liquid. His family believed his death was suspicious after the father of two reportedly sent his mother, Vanessa Bates, 63, a text message 2 days before he died which said, "Your boy's in trouble. If anything happens to me, investigate." In a rambling interview with Polish YouTube channel Pedøphile, can't even pronounce that, during which he appeared to slur and complained of being tired a number of times, Mr. Spiers talked of his inquiries into the Presidio Child Development Center run by the U.S. Army in San Francisco. The Presidio. I've heard of that before. A well-documented scandal broke in 1986 when allegations of suspected ritual abuse involving 60 children, including 4 children that had contracted an STD, surfaced from the center. But despite so many victims, only one man, Gary Hambright, a civilian employee of the center and Baptist minister, was charged on 10 counts of child abuse. The San Jose Mercury News reported in 1988 on claims Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, who was based in Presidio and the self-confessed founder of a satanic church called the Temple of Set, was involved in the abuse. But despite a police inquiry, no charges were ever brought against him. The case against Mr. Hambright was also subsequently dropped after a judge ruled the allegations were too vague. But in April of 1992, the American Journal of Orthopsychiatry published a report on the severity of the trauma for the children presented by clear-cut symptoms. The report detailed how before the abuse was exposed, parents had noticed changes in their children, including vaginal discharge, genital soreness, rashes, fears of the dark, sleep disturbances, nightmares, sexually provocative language, and sexually inappropriate behavior. In the video of the interview recorded 4 days before Mr. Spiers was found dead, he said he had feelings about bad things that had gone on at Presidio. He also spoke of having details of a number of underground tunnels connecting preschools, kindergartens, and churches in San Francisco, which were linked to the Presidio scandal. Mr. Spiers also gave theories about Michael Aquino during the interview. The interviewer asked Mr. Spiers if he was scared to be talking about these subjects. He replied he was because he was exposing it. But during the 1 hour, 16-minute long interview, which had to be stopped midway through because Mr. Spiers claimed he was being psychologically attacked by forces he was exposing, the conspiracy theorists discussed a bizarre range of theories. These included a deep underground water base between Dover and Calais being a secret base for reptilian creatures that have infiltrated the global elite. Mr. Bates believes her son may have been killed as a part of a government cover-up after an autopsy of his body failed to be performed. After waiting for the results of a post-mortem only to find that Polish authorities failed to perform one, Mrs. Bates now believes her son was killed by government agents. She said Max was a very fit man who was in good health, and yet he apparently just died suddenly on a sofa. Also, he was throwing up this mystery black liquid. He was making a name for himself in the world of conspiracy theorists. But I think Max had been digging in some dark places, and I fear that somebody wanted him dead. She added, Polish authorities are also refusing to release any paperwork about it to me because, absurdly, I don't have his written permission. All I have is a death certificate from the Polish authorities that it was from natural causes. But Mrs. Bates arranged for Mr. Spiers' body to be flown back to Britain where an autopsy was carried out. But 2 months later, she is still waiting for the results. She said apparently he had not suffered any obvious physical injuries. He could have been slowly poisoned, which is why the results of the toxicology test from his post-mortem are so important. Miss Spiers' online followers are also convinced that he might have been killed for getting too close to the truth. A blogger for the website Project Camelot wrote, "The entire circumstances are suspicious, and I urge everyone to encourage the release of details about what really happened and call for an autopsy." The spokesman for the Northeast Kent Coroner's Office said they were very early stages of the investigation. I wanted to show you some stuff. This is Michael Aquino. This has been James.